guys, thanks. Just want to thank Nick for, kind of saying, what I'm going to be talking about. I'm kind of dressed the way I am, I'm not real formal. I don't want to preach a sermon to you guys. I have some ideas that I want to talk about in my section of the text that I think you need to know for a better understanding of rhetoric as an emotion. The difficult ideas that I'm going to address are inartistic versus artistic emotion, the role of the audience in a given situation, and achieving an effective identity. The inartistic emotion is kind of, what Gorgas is talking about. It's kind of imposing a set of feelings on an audience, remaking their belief system. No matter what it is, I know Professor Pathos outlined it in his introduction about, we come from an influence background, and it's the job of a reader in an inartistic emotion to really, change how people feel about it so that they can persuade them to act, without judgment. And while doing this, the audience no longer uses their own values. They use the reader's. And it eliminates their judgment, and they can no longer, be an active audience, but they're more passive. And that's kind of going on the inartistic emotion right there. And then Aristotle wants us to move towards an artistic emotion. When the audience takes on the role as judge, they're not easily manipulated. Right now, as an audience, a lot of people are here passive, like we've mentioned. But if you really, take the time to become an active audience and to judge me, and try and see if you can be persuaded by what I'm trying to tell you, then you take on the role of an artistic audience, using your emotions artistically. This role of judge can determine what to do in a certain situation. This is where your role becomes important. And Aristotle kind of moves towards this idea of emotions playing a role in molding a polis or a community. And, if there's a set of laws that communities have, and if something gets called into question, there's certain deliberations about things. And I kind of want to go back to the mention of Braveheart. They had this important thing where, there's nobles and there's common people. And the nobles' interest is way different than the common people because, if they do what the king wants and they get what they want. And to make decisions, people need to know their situation. And the nobles know their situation, but what Mel Gibson does is creates his own dialogue, his own situation. And what he has, which the nobles don't, is pathos. He has passion. He has an argument. He wants to persuade people to join him, for a cause. And it's really effective. And again, going back to make decisions, people need to know their situation, and that determines their stance against something. People can be envious, jealous, things like that, and it really shapes how they feel towards others, and it's kind of how both parties understand each other, kind of like in that same situation. And again, the reader really tries to eliminate bias by making the emotion to the situation evident. Once we reach this common ground as an audience, connected to the speaker, that's how we form our effective identity, our emergent identity, the kind of identity that we were talking about, Dr. Pathos was talking about, that we need to adhere to in order to create, something for ourselves and a way to kind of engage and be an active audience. So with that, I'll leave it to Stephen.